10 reasons why Germany lost the war. Adolf Hitler, who led the Germans to astounding triumphs, was also the primary reason of Germany's inevitable downfall in the war. He refused to face the facts, disregarded his generals' advice, and then made detrimental decisions. By doing this, he made sure Germany's defeat will be certain. Here are 10 major reasons why Germany lost the war. His axis of evil allies. Hitler had to seek for other weaker nations, after failing to convince England to join the fight against the USSR. Italy was a natural candidate due to its Nazi-inspired ideology, but when World War II began, their military hardware was already outdated. While Hungary and Romania were convinced to join the Axis, neither could strive to provide excellent military support. Hitler had to defend Italy after his ally had launched numerous unsuccessful attacks. The not one step back policy. In the winter of 1941 to 1942, when the Russian effort to conquer Moscow had failed, Hitler ordered his troops to stand and fight against the counterattacks, saving the German army from a devastating defeat. At that time, withdrawing might have resulted in the complete collapse of the German front, and an early Russian defeat. Afterwards, feeling justified, he moved too far with this policy and didn't permit even one unit to leave. He even went so far as to circumvent standard military channels and issue instructions at the regimental and even company level. His decision to stop the German Sixth Army at Stalingrad from withdrawing led to its total defeat. He forbade the troops from retreating to more favorable terrain or from shortening the lines in future engagements. Thus, the German army suffered multiple fatalities which it could not afford. The right technology being misused. Regarding military technology, the Germans far outpaced the Allies. The Germans should have had an advantage in any fight due to the mass manufacturing of considerably superior tanks and jet aircraft. The Germans ended up with a wide variety of tanks, each requiring a completely different set of spare parts and skill set, as a result of their search for ever heavier tanks rather than concentrating on the mass production of successful designs like the Panther tank. Furthermore, the use of forced labor made quality control a massive issue, resulting in more malfunctions and the need for additional replacement parts. The declaration of war on the United States of America. Germany declared war on the United States on December 11, 1941, in retaliation for what was apparently a series of provocations made by the United States while they were still neutral. This has happened just 4 days after the nation of Japan surprisingly attacked Pearl Harbor. Germany was required to assist Japan if a third country attacked it, but not if Japan attacked first, according to the Anti-Comintern Pact that was signed with Japan. Yet Hitler's administration in Germany decided to launch a war with America. This proved to be a blessing in disguise for both Churchill and Roosevelt, who quickly came to terms with a Germany-first strategy that prioritized the annihilation of Germany over the destruction of Japan. Hitler taking over as commander-in-chief. The Germans were on the verge of defeat in December 1941 when the attack on Moscow faltered, and the Soviet Union launched a major counterattack. Hitler refused to accept the truth, therefore, he started removing officers from their positions when they disobeyed orders or proposed a retreat. Hitler declared himself to be in command of the army in the biggest shakeup of Germany's military high command because he refused to return territories that had been taken by force. By personal decree, he would instruct it in a National Socialist fashion. The strategy would be written by him, and the officers would follow his lead. Hitler disregarded his general's advice. Hitler thought of himself as a military genius because under his leadership the war had begun with remarkable victories. Hitler, however, accused his generals of not following his brilliant instructions when the course of the war shifted. In the end, Hitler only listened to himself, producing a downward spiral of mutual mistrust. For instance, despite the reservations of his generals, Hitler decided to start the Battle of the Bulge in December 1944, which cost Germany many valuable men and supplies and made it easier for the Allies to defeat Germany in the end. Fighting Russian during the winter of 1941. Hitler told his generals, "We only have to kick in the door, and the whole decaying structure will crash down," as he was certain of his ability to defeat the USSR quickly. There was no need to get ready for the Russian winter because victory would come before it. However, his forces had to battle the full onslaught of Arctic cold in their summer attire since they were unable to seize Moscow in the autumn of 1941 and compel a Soviet capitulation. The assault on Greece. Germany ultimately bailed out Italy in their escapade in Greece, fully aware of the urgency to launch the assault on the USSR as soon as the thaw ended and Russian highways were once again accessible. The invasion on Russia was postponed by this military action by 6 weeks. Due to the delay, Operation Barbarossa could not be finished, and the Russians could not be eliminated before the arrival of the winter and the autumn rains. The Battle of Stalingrad. The Battle of Stalingrad, one of the costliest battles ever fought in a war, changed the course of the Second World War. The German Sixth Army seemed to have the option of bypassing or encircling the city while en route to the Caucasus oil fields, leaving it to be dealt with later. However, they were obliged to fight for every city block, house, and room, as they were given the order to conquer the city itself, which resulted in significant losses. The Sixth Army was then caught in a massive pincer movement by the Soviets, who had already begun an offensive and surrounded Stalingrad. Hitler forbade the Sixth Army from advancing on friendly lines, guaranteeing their demise. Fighting the war on two fronts simultaneously. Hitler had always regarded Russia as his priority, but in order to protect its western border and prevent a war on two fronts, Germany chose to attack France and Great Britain first. In a couple of weeks, France was eliminated, but after losing the Battle of Britain, Hitler had not fully secured the western flank. When Hitler did, Germany was compelled to battle both Britain and the USA in North Africa, Italy, and ultimately France. Hitler routinely splits his army between two fronts. He had to concentrate his strength everywhere, which hindered him from achieving a decisive triumph anywhere and finally inviting defeat.